Inside Building Products, a Siemens podcast that keeps you learning.
Have you ever paused to think about what it truly takes to run a really big building? I mean,
Right.
Think about an office tower, or maybe a hospital, or even like a sprawling university campus. All those complex systems, the lights flicking on, the heating adjusting automatically, security cameras, fire alarms. It's a lot to manage. Now, imagine trying to keep track of all of those different systems, especially if they're all from different companies. It must get incredibly tangled, right? Different dashboards, information stuck in silos. So today, we're going to take a deep dive into how that whole challenge is being tackled. We're looking into something called Desigo CC. It's Siemens' main building management system. Our mission really is to unpack what it is, why it matters, and how it helps make buildings smarter, safer, and way more efficient. And we're going to explain it so anyone can follow along, no technical degree needed. We've looked at several Siemens Building Product Academy videos to get the inside scoop for you. Okay, let's start unpacking this. Let's dig into the basic problem that Desigo CC sets out to solve. So what is the big challenge in most existing buildings? Why is something like this needed?
Yeah, you've really set the scene perfectly. The core issue, it's what we often call data silos. Just picture a building, right? But think of it as a collection of separate islands. You've got the heating system doing its thing on one island, the lights on another, security cameras on a third, fire alarms on yet another. The big problem is these islands can't actually talk to each other. They're often from totally different companies, running their own software, completely unaware of what the other systems are up to. It's kind of like having this potentially amazing orchestra, but every musician is playing a totally different tune, and crucially, they can't hear anyone else. So the full potential for, a harmonious performance, or in our case, a truly optimized building, it's just lost. Nothing's working together. And the real world effects of these isolated systems, they're pretty significant. They impact everyone in the building. For the people managing the building, the operators, it means slower reactions when something goes wrong, maybe a sudden temperature drop or a security door being forced open. They have to manually check multiple different systems to figure out what's happening. It also leads to a huge amount of wasted energy. Why?
Right.
Because the systems can't coordinate. You might have lights blazing in an empty conference room while the air conditioning is working hard to cool it down. It just doesn't make sense. And overall, there's this lack of control and transparency for the managers. Their job becomes incredibly hard, just juggling all these different screens and interfaces.
That isolated island picture really works. You can almost feel the frustration. But okay, if a building already has all these separate systems installed, how hard is it to actually get them talking? Does it mean ripping everything out? Or does Desigo CC somehow, build bridges between them more easily?
That's a really good question. And honestly, that's exactly where Desigo CC is designed to step in. It acts as the central brain, like you said, the translator connecting all those separate islands.
A central brain. I like that. So how does it do it? How does Desigo CC actually manage to pull all these different disconnected systems into one sort of unified whole? What's the magic behind that integration?
Well, at its heart, Desigo CC works as this central collection point. It receives data from all the connected devices in a building. And I really mean all of them. You're talking meters, sensors, valves, actuators, the fire alarms we mentioned, everything. And crucially, it doesn't really matter what kind of system they belong to or even who manufactured them. Desigo CC gathers all that data, processes it, and then lets you visualize and manage every single system from one single unified platform. So instead of needing one control panel for heating, another screen for lighting, yet another login for security, it's all right there in one place. And for the building operator, this brings Matteo from Siemens highlights three really key benefits. First, there's unified monitoring and control. Just imagine having one single comprehensive dashboard for the entire building. That's what it offers. Operators can see exactly what's happening everywhere in real time through a really powerful graphic interface. They can see floor plans, get alerts, adjust settings instantly. It completely changes the game from juggling multiple systems to having like one smart remote for the whole building.
Okay, so one dashboard instead of 5 or 10. That alone sounds like a huge improvement.
It really is. And the second big benefit is instant alarm notification. If anything goes wrong, maybe a fire alarm goes off or there's a sudden weird temperature spike suggesting equipment failure, or a security sensor is triggered, Desigo CC immediately tells the right people. This means a much, much faster and more appropriate response to any kind of emergency. And as you can guess, that speed can be absolutely vital for safety and also for minimizing damage.
Yeah, faster response, definitely critical.
Exactly. And the third key benefit is enabling intelligent planning and energy savings. Desigo CC empowers building operators to actually schedule and plan how the building behaves. So, for example, you could set up a weekly program for heating and lighting. This means parts of the building can automatically power down or go into a sort of energy-saving mode during times when nobody's there, like evenings or weekends. It might sound simple, but this intelligent scheduling leads to really significant energy savings over the long run. It's about making the building work smarter, not just harder, and cutting down drastically on wasted electricity and fuel.
Okay, so let me see if I've got this straight. It boosts comfort for the people inside. It dramatically improves energy efficiency, enhances how resilient the building is to problems, and strengthens security. And it does all that while actually making the operator's job easier and more effective.
Oh, right.
It sounds like it shifts them from constantly putting out fires, so to speak, to actually being proactive managers. I bet operators who've dealt with the old way breathe a huge sigh of relief.
That sums it up perfectly, yes. That's precisely the kind of transformation we're talking about.
That really clarifies the impact. Now, you mentioned it being powerful, reliable. What gives Desigo CC these capabilities? Are there some, core principles behind its design that make it work so well?
Absolutely. It's actually quite interesting. Desigo CC's strength really rests on 5 core foundations, or pillars, you could say. These make it incredibly versatile and also very reliable. And we can think about them in pretty simple terms, no jargon needed. So the first pillar is openness. Think of Desigo CC as being like a universal translator for the building. Buildings, as we've said, are full of devices speaking different technical languages or protocols. You might hear acronyms like BACnet, Modbus, OPC, KNX, but you don't really need to worry about what those mean. What matters is that Desigo CC is designed to understand pretty much all of them right out of the box. This means it can connect smoothly with almost any system already in the building, even if it's from a competitor.
So you're not locked into one specific brand for everything.
Exactly. That's a huge advantage. It gives you flexibility and helps future-proof your investment because you're not stuck in one closed system. The second pillar is modularity and flexibility. Basically, this means Desigo CC can grow with your needs. It can be set up for literally any size project, whether it's a small primary school or, a massive international airport complex. You only pick and choose the specific bits and pieces, the components you actually need right now. It's very much like building with Legos. You use just the bricks you need for your current model, but you can always add more later if you want to build something bigger or different.
So it scales up or down?
Precisely. This adaptability stops you from having to do expensive rip-and-replace upgrades later on. It protects that initial investment. Then there's pillar number 3, efficient engineering and easy operation. This one's all about making the system really straightforward to set up and, crucially, simple to use day to day. Desigo CC is designed to cut down on the training time needed, both for the people installing it and for the operators who use it every day. It has these big libraries of pre-built elements. It can even automatically create the visual graphics you see on screen, like floor plans showing sensor readings. And it uses consistent ways of doing things, consistent workflows across all the different systems it manages.
So it feels familiar no matter if you're adjusting the heating or checking a security camera feed.
Exactly. That intuitive design means operators get comfortable with it quickly, they can manage events efficiently, spend less time fighting the software, and more time actually, managing the building. Okay, pillar 4 is a big one today. A strong cybersecurity focus. In our connected world, digital security is just non-negotiable, right? Especially for something as critical as a building's core systems. Desigo CC is developed, it's operated, and it's maintained with a very clear, very deliberate focus on cybersecurity from the beginning. This helps ensure that the building's vital infrastructure is protected against online threats, which gives everyone, operators, owners, occupants, more peace of mind. It's built with security baked in.
That's definitely reassuring to hear.
Mm-hmm. And finally, the 5th pillar is strong connectivity. Now, this goes beyond just talking to the devices inside the building, what engineers sometimes call southbound connectivity, like talking down to the machines. Desigo CC also has powerful connections outwards and upwards to cloud applications, other smart city systems, maybe specialized analytical tools. We call that northbound connectivity. This ensures the building isn't an island in the digital world either. It can connect to everything it needs to, both inside and out, becoming part of a much larger, smarter ecosystem.
Okay, those 5 pillars, openness, modularity, ease of use, security, and connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
They paint a picture of a system that's not just powerful now, but also really adaptable. And like you said, future-proof. It sounds like it's ready to handle whatever new building technologies come along. Now, you mentioned one of the big leaps forward with Desigo CC was this truly multidisciplinary approach, getting all the building systems integrated. So let's make this really concrete. What does that level of integration actually mean in a real-life, maybe high-stakes situation? Could you give us an example?
Yeah, let's take a serious but very illustrative example. Imagine a fire breaks out inside a building. In an older building with those isolated systems, you'd probably just get loud alarms ringing. Maybe someone has to manually unlock emergency exits. Someone else has to call 911. It's fragmented. But with Desigo CC coordinating things, it triggers a whole sequence of automated actions, all designed to protect people and limit damage.
Okay, so what happens?
Well, first, the fire extinguishing systems, maybe sprinklers, activate immediately in the affected zone. Simultaneously, the air circulation system, the ventilation, is automatically adjusted or shut down in certain areas to stop smoke from spreading through the building via the ducts. That contains the danger. Elevators are automatically sent to designated safe floors and shut down the fire. You absolutely don't want people getting trapped in an elevator during a fire. The fire department is notified instantly, automatically. And here's a key thing. They're simultaneously given access to the building's digital floor plans, showing exactly where the fire is located. That saves critical time, precious minutes that can literally save lives.
Wow, okay, so it's not just alarming, it's actively responding and informing.
Precisely. And there's more. The security cameras in the area automatically provide live video feeds to the control center or even to first responders' devices. This allows operators to verify it's a real fire, not a false alarm, and also to monitor how the evacuation is progressing. The lighting system changes. It doesn't just stay on. It might brighten pathways to the exits, maybe use flashing lights to guide people clearly towards safety. The building's loudspeaker system gives clear, pre-recorded, or even live spoken instructions, telling people exactly what to do, which exits to use, reassuring them. And depending on the setup, key personnel security staff, floor wardens, managers can receive instant alerts directly via email, SMS text messages, maybe even specific apps. So everyone who needs to know knows immediately.
That level of coordination is incredible.
It really is. And that level of integration, the breaking down of those data silos we started with, it directly translates into faster, much more effective emergency responses. It demonstrably helps save lives and minimize property damage. It's probably the most powerful illustration of why having truly connected systems is so vital for creating safer environments. And, beyond this core Desigo CC platform, Siemens also offers some related solutions. These cater to slightly different needs or maybe different project sizes, showing the breadth of their approach to building management. For instance, for smaller buildings or maybe just specific applications within a larger one, there's something called Desigo Control Point. Think of it as a simpler kind of all-in-one package. It combines the hardware and software needed for basic control and monitoring. You can access it easily through touch panels, a standard PC, or even mobile devices like tablets or phones. It's great for less complex setups where you still want smart control but maybe don't need the full power of the main system.
Okay, so a more streamlined option.
Exactly. Then, moving towards the cloud, there's Operations Manager. This is actually a cloud-based application offered as software as a service, or SaaS. It's specifically designed for remote monitoring, operation, and maybe most importantly, maintenance. It gives service providers or building portfolio managers real-time data from anywhere, allowing them to make quick decisions, diagnose issues, or even perform some maintenance tasks remotely. That's a huge plus if you're managing multiple sites or need really responsive service.
Right, accessing it from anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And finally, for projects that are maybe a bit smaller but still need robust integration, there's Desigo CC Compact. This is essentially a pre-configured, slightly scaled-down version of the main Desigo CC. It offers those core benefits, the unified view, the efficiency, the safety integration, but perhaps at a more accessible price point and with a simpler setup. It's a good entry point into that world of integrated building management. What's really interesting about all of these, though, is how they collectively point towards the future. A system like Desigo CC isn't just about solving today's problems. It's fundamentally about helping buildings adapt to current and future demands. It's built to evolve. Think about integrating with the smart grid to optimize energy consumption based on citywide demand, or connecting to potentially thousands of tiny Internet of Things or IoT sensors for even more detailed monitoring and control, or even managing fleets of electric vehicle charging stations right there in the building's parking garage as transportation electrifies. It really is a platform designed to make buildings truly intelligent and ready for whatever comes next in our cities and how we use energy.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To summarize our deep dive today, Desigo CC isn't really just another software program, is it? It sounds like it's more the integrated, scalable, and importantly, open central brain that manages modern high-performance buildings. It takes all those separate technologies we find inside a building, heating, cooling, lighting, fire safety, security, and more, and makes them work together seamlessly. And the result is enhanced comfort for people, maximized energy efficiency, better resilience when things go wrong, and significantly improved safety for everyone inside. So as we see buildings becoming ever more sophisticated, more interconnected, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What new possibilities or maybe even new challenges or considerations do you foresee emerging for these intelligent spaces where we all live, work, and learn? It's definitely a fascinating area to think about how technology will keep reshaping our built environment, perhaps in ways we haven't even fully imagined yet.